Hi, welcome to This Is Me, and also Cooking with Diane. And I am here today with my son, Son, and he's going to be sharing some easy Labor Day recipes.
Hi everybody, such an honor to be here with my beautiful mother on This Is Me. I'm so happy to be cooking with Diane today. So my name is Rasan. I work in the restaurant industry. I'm a hospitality manager for front of house. I just wanted to pop on the show and give a few simple recipes for the holiday season. We're going to jump into that in a bit, but today we're going to be making two very quick, very fresh and light recipes. So we're going to be making a series of kebabs, vegetable and chicken and sausage, as well as steak. And then we're going to be making a light pasta salad as well. Both of these dishes have vegetarian and non-vegetarian options, and we'll discuss how to accommodate both of those options over the course of the show. So let's jump into it. All right, so we have here the components for our grilled kebabs. So like we talked about, we have a few different options. So we have multiple protein options. So we have our chicken, we have a chicken sausage, and then we have a tenderloin steak, as well as mushrooms over here. Then we also have, with our veg, we have onion, we have some yellow and green peppers, and some cucumber. We also have our seasoning mix here. So I went ahead and pre-measured everything, but the components for our seasoning mix are going to be salt, pepper, paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, chili powder, and cumin. And I put about a half a teaspoon of each of these in, then about a full teaspoon of salt, and then the pepper we're going to throw in as needed. Over here we have some of the components for our marinade, which we will show you how to make in just a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some balsamic vinegar, apple cider vinegar, honey. We're going to use some of our seasoning mix here, and then we're going to throw in a bit of brown sugar as well, just to cut through the acid of the vinegar. So first thing we're going to start with is we're going to whisk all of our ingredients for our marinade together. So we will start measuring that out right now. So we're going to take our balsamic vinegar.
And the balsamic vinegar is in place of soy sauce. So that's another,
Yes.
if you have a dietary restriction or you just want to not use the soy sauce, we're using balsamic vinegar.
Yeah, it's a much lower sodium option than soy sauce. But if that is not a concern of yours, you are more than welcome to use soy sauce for a slightly more traditional, teriyaki inspired flavor. And then we're going to whisk this together and let everything get nice and homogenized. All right, and then last but not least to this mix, we'll go ahead and drizzle just a bit of olive oil in. I like to eyeball it, but you're looking at quarter cup maybe. Now what we're going to do with this marinade is we're going to put everything in. So a little bit of everything, all of our proteins. If you have anybody who has any sort of extreme dietary restrictions, of course you could always marinate your vegetables, separate from your meats, so on and so forth. But we don't have that here today. Is to put everything in a nice little freezer bag. And then we will pour the marinade in. Once we do that, we'll be able to pull the air out of here to make sure that everything gets a nice full coating. All right, and the last three things that I added to my bag here are going to be some black pepper, some red pepper flakes, and a splash of rice vinegar.
Does this gives it a more Asian?
Yes, I think the rice vinegar is going to give it a bit more of that like teriyaki flavor, especially with us not having like the soy sauce in there. Black pepper, just black pepper, and then the red pepper flakes are going to give it a nice little zing, a nice little bit of spice.
So our next dish that my son is going to be preparing is an easy pasta salad. So I'm going to let him tell you about the ingredients.
All right, so yeah, like my mother said, we are going to be making just a very simple, easy pasta salad. It's just a nice light option. So we'll jump into the ingredients. So just to note, we do have our pasta, which is the tricolor rotini. This has already been cooked and rinsed and cooled off. So you're going to want to make sure that maybe while you're prepping the rest of your ingredients that you have your pasta cooking. Just watch it. You want it to come to like a nice al dente. You want to make sure it doesn't get too soft because it is going to be sitting in our vinaigrette sauce by the end of it. So we have our tricolor rotini. We have some peppercini peppers over here. We have our cheese mix. This is just some sharp cheddar and Colby Jack cheese. We also have some of those cucumbers. Right here is our meat mix. So this is going to be pepperoni and hard salami. And then our last cheese in the mix is going to be the mozzarella. So this is the mozzarella balls soaked in water. Over here, just as some finishers, we have some capers just to add a nice little salty punch. You can also sub these with black olives or any olives of your choice, depending on your preference. We're going to have some of the vinaigrette dressing here, and then seasoning. We're just going to have Italian seasoning and a bit of black pepper to finish it off. So this recipe is super simple. You get a big bowl, you dump everything in, you mix it all up, and then you enjoy. And at this point, if you would rather a vegetarian option, you can stop here. There's a lot of different ways you can take this salad. One of the things I really like about pasta salad is it's super customizable. So if you want to add in some green or red peppers, you can do that. You can really have fun with it and, take the dish and make it your own. The recipe I'm giving you is one that has worked for me and my family very well over the years. Hopefully it'll do the same for you and yours. But we are going to jump into, so what I'll do is I'll finish this off with the sauce so you can see the vegetarian version, and then we'll add our pepperoni and our salami in last. Other options with a dish like this, you could drizzle a little extra olive oil on there. You can take a lemon, squeeze some lemon juice on there. There's a lot of different directions that you can go with the dish. For today's purposes, we're going to keep it simple. And then we're just going to mix everything up. And I didn't add any salt to this because between the vinaigrette and the capers, as well as the pepperoncinis, you're going to get plenty of that like briny flavor with the salad. But again, everybody can season to taste. So if you like yours a little more salty, you can do that. But my suggestion would be to try the recipe as is and then season the taste from there. All right. And that's our pasta salad done. In theory, you can serve this as is. I would recommend throwing this in the fridge for about 30 to 45 minutes at least, just to let it get a nice chill on it. It's going to really let the flavor of the your sauce and everything really absorb into the noodles. That mozzarella is also a great flavor absorber, so those flavors will homogenize over that time, and it's really going to taste really, really good. So this is our easy pasta salad done. As I said, if you would rather a meat option, simply add in your salami, your pepperoni, throw those in there, you'll toss them in the mix, and you'll be off to the races. So this is another super simple Labor Day, holiday, just summertime recipe that you can do. This one is very quick. The most time that you're spending with it is going to be the prep time, cutting up your cheeses and your different components. But once you get everything prepped and cut up, toss it in a bowl. You can throw it in your cooler if you're going to visit family. Throw it in the fridge, pull it out when it's time to eat. And the good thing about this is you can always take another box of pasta, cook yourself some, keep that on the side.
That's true.
So that's our pasta salad done.
So, Rasan, the kebabs have been marinating in the sauce. So what's next?
All right, so next up, we are going to make our glaze that we're going to brush over our marinades towards the end of their cooking process. So this is just going to be a nice little sweet and tangy sauce. It's going to have a lot of similar flavors that the marinade has. But yeah, it's just something that's going to add that nice little final punch at the end of it. So we're going to go ahead and get the components of our sauce together now. So we essentially have some more of the balsamic vinegar, or if you want a more traditional sauce, you can use the soy sauce. We have some honey, some rice wine vinegar, hoisin. We have some sweet chili sauce, and then we have our mix of seasonings over here. So everybody's palate's a little different, but I really like the combination of red pepper flakes, chili powder, cumin, paprika, garlic and onion powder. We also do have some fresh cloves of garlic here that we're gonna press in there. So we're just gonna have like some raw garlic, and we just have like a little dash of that garlic powder just to kind of really kick that garlic up a notch. So all of our liquids are going to be pretty straightforward. So each of these, I'm going to add a third cup of the vinegars and the honey. I'm going to add a full tablespoon of the hoisin sauce, and we're going to add about 3 tablespoons or so of the sweet chili sauce.
Okay.
As far as our seasonings, the chili powder and the cumin, we're going to add about a half a teaspoon just because those are really strong. Everything else we're going to add about a teaspoon of, and then the crushed red pepper, we're just going to sprinkle that in to taste. And one last thing that I like to add into mine, it is optional because we do have the honey, but I like my sauce a little bit sweeter. So we're going to add just under a quarter cup of brown sugar into the mix as well. So we'll go ahead and get started mixing all of these things together now. So in goes the brown sugar, balsamic vinegar, and because there's so much sugar in this between the honey and the brown sugar, this is really going to be like a finishing glaze. You don't want to put this on too early in the cook process. That sugar will caramelize and it will throw off the flavor. So you really want to save this sauce for the last like 1 to 2 minutes of your cook process. That way you'll be finishing up cooking it when that caramelization process is at its peak.
That's a very good tip, because sometimes you don't really realize how the sugar in the sauce can actually start burning, actually.
Yeah, that's one of those things. I see that a lot with especially folks who aren't used to maybe cooking with sauces. Like you see it all the time at the barbecues where, you know, folks like to brush that barbecue sauce on their burgers and hot dogs, but if they do it a little too soon, and now everything's a little extra black. So we like to avoid that if we can. So again, this sauce, as far as I'm concerned, is going to be, like I said, the last couple minutes of that cooking process is where you're going to go ahead and add this on there.
So what's the normal cooking time for the kebabs?
So it's really going to depend on your heat source. So we have what the good thing about these is a lot of times when people think about kebabs, they think about the grill, right? So obviously a very good way to prepare kebabs, but it's not the only way. So you know, there are some folks who either might not would prefer not to grill, just due to like the different like health concerns, carcinogens and things of that nature. There's also a lot of people who maybe just don't have the option of grilling. Like if you're in an apartment, but you still want to celebrate the holiday. So we're gonna, even though we do have a grill available here, we'll be using the indoor method, which is essentially we'll be using indoor griddle top to go ahead and prepare this. There's a plethora of options on the market as far as like indoor grilling goes. So that's always an option. If you have like a gas burner, there's a lot of stovetop like grills and griddles that you can purchase, which really open up a lot of horizons as far as your cooking is concerned. But yeah, that was one of the reasons I wanted to do this recipe today, just because I think, at least for me, a lot of times when I'm thinking kebabs, instantly I'm thinking of the grill. But just kind of showing us that, like, no matter what, if you want to celebrate the holiday, obviously we always think about cooking out, but you can eat pretty good cooking in or cooking out.
Right.
So that was kind of the point of these two recipes, is these are things that are going to work for just about everybody, no matter what your situation is.
And like you say, on today's market, they have so many options for indoor grilling that you don't really have to grill outside unless you really want to.
Exactly. And now that all of our components are combined, thank you, we're just going to go ahead and whisk it all together. I'm going to sprinkle in a little bit of red pepper flakes to taste. So I like just as much sweetness as I like the same amount of heat. So I load it down. Yeah, and that's the whole thing with this sauce, is like this is like a zing sauce. So you want that like sweetness, but you also want it to be contrasted with a bit of the heat. So once these ingredients get all mixed up, we'll go ahead and put this on a saucepan on low heat. You're going to let it sit there for about 15-20 minutes or so, just until it thickens up a bit. And that's the perfect time to, while you're keeping an eye on your sauce and stirring frequently, go ahead and start getting your kebabs all loaded up and ready to cook. All right. So it's been about 30 minutes or so, 30-45 minutes. Our kebab mix is marinated, so we are now ready to go ahead and start assembling the skewers. One thing I did do off camera was just sprinkle a little extra salt on the mix and stir all that together. But yeah, essentially, once this is set and marinated for that time, you are good to go. So we have our kebabs here. Let's have a little tray. You just need like a flat surface, something that you can go ahead and put your skewers on once they're loaded up. It can be a baking tray, anything flat. So now we're going to go ahead and assemble our skewers. So a good rule of thumb with these guys is to make sure that you leave about an inch and a half on each end. So you really want the meat to be loaded up right here in the middle. That just kind of assures that when you put your skewer on whatever your heat source is going to be, that everything that's on this kebab is getting as close to that heat source, and getting just like cooking a bit more evenly. Sometimes if you have everything loaded all the way to the back, that back portion isn't going to be directly over the heat because you're not going to be able to grab it otherwise. So if you have a piece of chicken way back here, it's not going to get cooked right. So leave you a little bit of space in the back, a little bit of space in the front, load it up in the middle, you'd be good to go. So with these kebabs, again, we are super flexible. So I typically just start loading them up. I'll throw like some little piece of veg on the end there. You can load these up with all vegetables. You can do a mix. You can do all meat. I mean, pretty much, the sky's the limit as far as like possibilities go with these. So you just grab a piece of something that looks good, load it up on there, and then you just want to make sure that everything's not super crowded either. So we don't want this stuff smashed together. Give it just a little bit of space to breathe. So that way, like I said, that heat can really penetrate and get onto all of your components equally. So yeah, we're just going to load these guys down. All right, so now we have a few of our kebabs ready. First batch is ready to go ahead and get on the griddle. So what we did is we went ahead and skewered those up just like we talked about. We have a couple meat options. We also did a couple vegetable only. Again, if you do have vegans or anybody who has, certain sensitivities to meat or anything like that, you could always go ahead and take all your veg and marinate those separately in a separate batch. Cook those up first. Make sure that everybody's taken care of. But just like I said, plenty of options. But yeah, so we got a little bit of everything on this dish here. So we're going to go ahead and drop these on the griddle, sear them up, let them get nice and cooked up. And when we come back, we should have the finished product ready to go. All right, and so here we go. We have our finished product here. So we've got some of our kebabs, various type. We got vegetable kebabs, some steak, some chicken, some sausage. We have our pasta salad. Right now, in its current form, it's vegetarian. We do have our pepperoni and salami that we can choose to mix in at any point in time if we want to go ahead and add a little bit of extra protein in there. But again, two simple, fairly quick dishes to make for the holiday time. I think that it's something that typically will sit a little bit lighter than your typical hamburger, hot dog, type of meal. But still very much within the spirit of the holiday cookout season.
Certainly is. And I just like to say, you did such a wonderful job, Rasan. And everything looks good and tastes good. And I couldn't be any better, if you was on a grill and you did it inside. So I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure cooking with your mom.
Yeah, you did a wonderful job, and thank you.
Yeah,
thank
absolutely.
you for coming here, coming on the show. And
of course, yeah, and it brought back memories. Cooking in the kitchen.
Yes.
Many good memories. Holidays, the holidays and things like that. So this was really fun. I really enjoyed it. And even just coming up with some of the different variations and things of that nature. Yeah, it was a good time. But I know that we got some delicious looking food here.
Yes, we did. And we're going to dig into it. So we want to say happy Labor Day to everyone. And until next time, I'm Diane Allen.
I'm Rasan Allen.
And this is us. Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day.